What's going on, everybody? Skjei just back with more Rangers reviews. It has been it's been about 3 weeks since I did one of these. Last time we did VC and Gilmore contracts, and I've really been bad at uploading lately. So I figured, fuck it, I gotta do something for you guys. I have a Los Angeles Kings franchise video coming up. It's hard. NHL 18, like it's not easy to record and upload those videos, and really, I just feel like it's just boring. Like it's phased out, you know. NHL 18 was not a good year. It just wasn't. It was a terrible year for franchise mode. So, yeah, I guess moving on, do Ranger reviews, and hopefully this will carry us over to NHL 19. I mean, I'm still going to upload a couple of videos every now and again of NHL 18 and still do MLB 18, the show, and it's going to be more sporadic. Plus, you know, school, work, all that crap. Keep me busy. But anyways, topic. So, the contracts we're going to go over is Hayes, Spooner, Namestnikov, Brady, Skjei, and that's it. Yes, that's it. Okay. So we'll start off with the smaller ones. Spooner and Namestnikov signed identical deals, 2 years, $8 million total, $4 million a year. I mean, at first I wanted to be upset at these because I wanted them to trade Spooner and Namestnikov, but in the end, I think these are good contracts. One, because they're relatively cheap, and two, if you trade these guys at this deadline, the team that's getting them has a year and a half of that player, which adds more value to them because, one, it's not like having a rental player; it's like having a rental and a half, or rental or one and a half, whatever it is. Well, a year and a half, and that's better than having a half-year rental. A big thing with the Ottawa Senators, why didn't they trade Erik Karlsson at last year's deadline as a year and a half rental instead of this year's deadline, if they even do, for a half-year rental? It's just a value thing. Also, if they have breakout years, this is an awesome contract, you know, and it's a very movable contract. If we would have signed them to 4 or 5 year deals at like this price tag, no one's gonna want these players. No one at all. I can't think of a single team that would want a player making $4 million. That's a fringe top 6 player. Yeah, and listen, they're gonna play in the NHL up until the deadline. We'll probably end up moving them. They have more value now than they did as RFAs. So it took me a little while to realize that because I've been so disappointed with this offseason because it's been so quiet and so boring. I just want to see something happen, and nothing's been happening. The Rangers haven't made a single move. Our only free agent signing is Frederick Claesson, and we've re-signed Cody McLeod. That's all we've done. Set aside RFAs, but RFAs you eventually got to re-sign anyways or trade them. So it's been a really long and John Tavares signing, and that was it. Nothing else interesting happened at all this offseason. So, I mean, you could make a case for the Jeff Skinner trade that just happened, but it really wasn't that interesting. There was one player that got moved, a player for a few picks and a crappy prospect. So it wasn't like anything super interesting happened. But yeah, so I like the Spooner and Namestnikov contracts because they're movable, and hopefully they will end up getting moved at the trade deadline. And you know, Ryan Spooner last year, take a look at his stats. I mean, he put up 41 points in 59 games. That's a pretty good year for Ryan Spooner, especially he had 16 points in 20 games on a Rangers team that sucked and was totally checked out half the year. So the fact that he was able to do that is pretty big. And who knows? Let's say he come trade deadline, we're 62 games in, and this guy's got 55 points in 62 games. He's gonna have a lot of trade value, especially at a $4 million cap hit, which we could cut in half, and a year and a half rental. Yeah, that'll be interesting. And Namestnikov, he's a 30-40 point player. He kills penalty kills. He could be a top line compliment, but I don't see Namestnikov being anything beyond that. But who knows? He just may surprise us. Who the hell knows? The Kevin Hayes contract. Kevin Hayes won't be here next year. It's just that simple. Unless he totally breaks out this year, puts himself on a 70-point pace, and commits to the long-term, or commits to the rebuild and signs a long-term contract at a cap-friendly deal, because we're not signing this guy for $6-7 million. It's just not unless he proves to be a $6 or $7 million player. He's not getting that kind of money. You know, he wanted more money than Mika Zibanejad was getting. And Zibanejad's a first-line center. Hayes was a third-line center up until last year. And even last year, Kevin Hayes was not that good. Kevin Hayes had his highest goal-scoring season, 25 goals, which is not that great. And he didn't even have his highest point. His highest point total season was 49 points, and that was the year before last. He had 19 assists and 25 goals. That's not a second-line center. That's certainly not a $6 million player. And he's a defensive liability. He does not kill penalties. His career playoff stats, he's got 10 points. 10 points, wait for it, in 34 games. This guy does not deserve over $6 million. And I feel bad for the sorry-ass team that has to acquire his stupid ass and give up a lot of assets for him. I mean, I don't feel bad for the Rangers getting rid of him because you know what? Kevin Hayes has really pissed me off this past summer. He overvalues himself to such a ridiculous extent. I mean, the number I just rattled off right there, 10 points in 34 playoff games, that's not good at all. That's terrible. That's like a third liner. And this guy wants money equivalent to that of a first or second line center. Get the hell out of here, dude. So hopefully we move Kevin Hayes. I've seen Kevin Hayes linked to a possible Trouba trade at some point. Now, I know I keep complaining that we have way too many defensemen, but let's say we do like a Hayes, D'Angelo, second, and a 6th round pick for Jacob Trouba. Fuck yeah, I'd make that Jacob Trouba trade right there, all right? Hell to the yes. But we gotta get rid of this damn guy, and I hope we trade him before the trade deadline, because the sooner you trade a player before the deadline, obviously I just mentioned this before, but the sooner you trade him before the deadline, the more value that they have, unless you got a team that waited to the wire, and he's the only center left on the market, and you'd be like, hey, screw you, you don't get him, whatever, and trading's weird. Trading value's weird, but, you know, hopefully we can flip him, for a guy like Jake Trouba. We need a right-handed top 4 defenseman, especially one as good and as young as Jacob Trouba, who's up for sale because he just is not happy in Winnipeg, and it shows. He's 24. He's on a 1-year deal, 1 year, $5.5 million. I mean, come on. You bring that guy in for the year. He's 25 years old. He's still in RFA. Signed to a 7 or 8 year deal at $6.5, $7 million if you need to, because he's that good of a player. And you go from there. I wouldn't mind. I love Jake Trouba. I wanted us to get him years ago, but the price was way too high. Finally, the Brady Skjei contract. I think it was a pretty good contract. Guy on Twitter broke it down. It's pretty simple, too. It's actually percentage to the cap-wise. Excuse me. This is less percent of the cap than Ryan McDonough's deal was when we re-signed Ryan McDonough to the 7-year, $4.7 million a year contract. When he was similar age, similar style as Brady Skjei. I like the deal for Brady Skjei. I mean, I wish we could have gone a little bit lower, but we're in a rebuild, so what does it really matter? 5.25 is not really a big deal. Now, he's got to own this contract, though. You know, 6 years is going to take him until he's 30 years old. I'd like to see Brady Skjei turn into that Ryan McDonough-esque defenseman, because Brady Skjei definitely has the potential to be way better than Ryan McDonough. We've seen it. He's a better skater than McDonough. I think he could be offensively. I think Brady Skjei could be way better than Ryan McDonough. And Brady Skjei has the size on Ryan McDonough, too. McDonough was only 6'1", 205. Brady Skjei 6'3", 215. Last I checked, something maybe 215, 210, something like 210, 211. I think Brady Skjei could definitely be a lot better than Ryan McDonough. So who knows? Maybe he's 3 or 4 years younger than McDonough. So yeah, he's got plenty of time to reach that McDonough level. I think McDonough definitely was better than Brady Skjei was at 24 years old. It just sucks because McDonough was on a Rangers team that kept getting better and better and better, whereas Skjei was on a Rangers team that was doing good, and then just a team that just went and didn't even make the playoffs. You know, finished 23rd in the NHL. You know, that sucked, especially for a young guy that's being relied on heavily, top 4, top 2 minutes after McDonough was gone. So it's rough for Brady Skjei, but I definitely think he could easily surpass Ryan McDonough. Easily. And those are the contracts. So right now the Rangers have $5.676 million in cap space. Not a big deal. I mean, it is what it is. I still think there are a couple things that the Rangers could do just to get some more assets, but that won't happen until much, much later. We're not going to see any trade. Look at this shaven face. I look like a baby. My birthday was a couple weeks ago, actually. I think the last time I recorded was before my 19th birthday, so. Was it? Yeah, I was. I was 18 the last time I recorded. I'm getting old. Yeah, but that's about it. There's not really much more to be said. So, yeah, hopefully. Hey, who knows? Maybe they'll pull something off before the season starts. Maybe Jacob Trouba will be a Ranger before the season starts. Preferably not. I'd rather wait a little bit later for that trade, only because I'd rather see some of the younger defensemen play in the NHL. But who knows? who knows? I'll do another video when Traverse City comes around. I will do it about the roster, and then obviously we'll talk preseason. And then once the season starts, we'll do our Rangers reviews and go over every single game, right? Till then, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and thanks for sticking around despite me being as inconsistent as I am. See you guys in the next one. Comment down below your thoughts on the signings and what you think could happen this year in terms of trades and acquisitions. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.